Dana White has hinted at a special fight announcement for lightweight champion Islam Makhachev. And there's a bunch of breadcrumbs that Dana White has left over the past few press conferences and interviews about what that may potentially be. I'm here to tell you that I am almost certain the UFC is making Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria for the lightweight belt. I'm going to lay it all out in this video. We got a lot to look at, a bunch of different clips of Dana White recently talking. But I was already thinking this in my head. And then yesterday, Dana White did an interview with the Mac Life. And he was asked, do you have a special announcement for Islam Makhachev? And the way Dana White answered it just told me, it really solidified it, that we are getting Makhachev versus Topuria, or at least they are trying to put that together as we speak, even though he hasn't currently announced it. And he also was even asked about it at the UFC Saudi Arabia post-fight presser, which I spent an hour looking for like a 10-second clip, but we'll get to that. We're going to check out that clip in this video as well. But we have a lot to check out. And I'll link all these down in the description. But we're going to check out UFC 311 post-fight presser. We're going to check out the Power Slap post-slap presser. We're going to check out the Mac Life interview. We're going to check out the Saudi Arabia post-fight. And then we're also going to check out an interview with Ilia Topuria's coach. So let's just jump right into it. So first off, we're going to start at the UFC 310 post-fight presser. And you guys have probably already seen this by now if you've been paying attention. But if you look at the rankings right now, who makes sense for Islam Makhachev's next title defense? Well, the only one that makes sense, again, if you pull up the rankings right now, it'd be number 1, Arman Tsarukyan, right? But we all know the story. Arman was scheduled to fight him at UFC 310. He pulled out with an injury, but it was kind of related to a weight cut. Renato Moicano stepped in, got subbed with ease. And then this is what Dana had to say at the 310 post-fight presser. Listen to this.
Arman Tsarukyan, what do you do with him at this point? I mean, do you automatically rebook him in the next title fight? Do you go back to the drawing board?
No. Don't automatically book him in a title fight. That's what Dana says now because he's not happy that Arman pulled out. So basically, we're eliminating Arman here. He goes into a little more detail.
Yeah, he's going back to the drawing board. I don't want anybody to ever fight Hurt, ever.
But I wanted Arman to fight Hurt, which is a topic for a whole nother video, whether this is right or not. It probably should be Arman. But, yeah, I don't ever want anyone to fight Hurt, but I want Arman to fight Hurt.
You know, we've been in these positions before. Went down there with the doctor. Went down there with Heather from the PI, who is, you can ask any fighter or anybody else, she's the best in the world. And, you know, you miss opportunities sometimes, and he did. So we'll see how this plays out for him next year.
You feel like he could have competed? You feel like he could have competed tonight?
Listen to John Morgan. You feel like he could have competed? He whispered it. But that's what Dana's saying here.
I have no idea. I don't know that. Only he knows that.
So this is a topic for a whole other video, but I'll translate it for you. Dana thought Arman should have stuck it out, not been a puss, and fought Islam Makhachev, and he lost his opportunity because they made Dana and the UFC spend more money paying Renato Moicano and paying Dariush to not fight. All right, next clip we're going to show you. It's just something that really, this could be a whole nother video in and of itself as well, but all of a sudden, you know, there's another reason I wanted to include this, but all of a sudden, Islam Makhachev is pound for pound number 1.
With this win tonight, Islam 15 straight wins, second longest in history behind Anderson Silva, and now the most lightweight title defenses. Do you feel like he is the best lightweight we've ever had in this
100%. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, he's the pound for pound best in the world right now, and he's definitely the best.
He's the pound for pound best in the world right now. Now, I know Dana changes his opinion left and right, but this made me think 2 things. First, Jones and Aspinall negotiations must not be going well. Second, when does Dana really start throwing that out? When he's thinking of promoting a mega fight? You know, Islam versus Volk? I know that's not the mega fight, but I'm just saying, the fight for pound. Islam was pound for pound then, or Volk was pound for pound then. Now, all of a sudden, Islam is pound for pound. And last clip we're going to look at from this press conference, again, just to rest assured, it's not Arman Tsarukyan, so we can eliminate him from the potential options for Islam next. We're also going to look at some tweets from Ali Abdelaziz, who is Islam's manager. But listen to this.
Yeah.
Final question I have to ask you. You said going back to the drawing board with Arman. Kind of tell us about what that looks like. What are you going to kind of envision?
I don't know. He's not getting a title shot, so that means he's going to have to fight his way back to the title.
So he's not getting a title shot. Okay, that's very clear. Well, what are some other options for him? This was the post-slap press conference. They were slapping real good, and then Dana came out and condemned Bryce Mitchell. And he was asked about Islam Makhachev talking about a middleweight title shot because there's nothing right now. There's absolutely no contenders outside of Arman Tsarukyan right now for Islam Makhachev. Well, Dana, what do you think about him fighting at middleweight? Let's hear what Dana has to say here.
Islam Makhachev has stated that if you give him opportunity, he'll go up to middleweight and fight the champ, Dricus du Plessis. Would you give him that chance to move up and fight that champ?
He would move up to middleweight.
Fight the middleweight champ, Dricus.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Listen, if he wants to move up to 170, we can talk. Moving up to 185 is a whole nother level.
So there's two things right there. First off, why is that not in HD? What is going on here? It didn't seem like it. Maybe it's just a bad video. But one, he dismisses the idea of moving up to 185, which is kind of a crazy idea to begin with. But then he says, oh, well, if he wants to move up to 170, we can talk. I don't think the UFC is making the 170 fight. It seems like Bilal and Islam don't want to fight each other. That is really the only other option, unless, you know, you do some fights that aren't really all that competitive in the lightweight division, which we'll get to when we look at what Ali Abdelaziz has recently said. So he's also asked about plans for Islam. Listen to this. We're going to skip a little bit ahead here. Listen to this.
Plans for you for Islam? You have any plans for him?
When we do, we'll announce it.
Look at that shit-eating grin. And I know you could say, oh, well, Dana's always got a shit-eating grin. Dana really gets this jubilant, okay, when he knows he's got a big fight in the works, like a massive mega money fight in the works, like Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria. And this isn't all. We still got a lot more to check out here, okay? Two other clips we're going to look at from this presser. And by the way, guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. I would greatly appreciate it. But we're going to jump ahead a little bit here. And he starts talking about Spain. Obviously, he's trying to figure out what's going on with Ilia Topuria. And you know what's crazy? I've seen on Twitter now, there's like rumors of Makhachev versus Topuria. I swear I was going to make this video on Friday, I think morning, basically. I wasn't going to make it on Friday morning, but I had the idea on Friday morning, maybe even Thursday night, I think it was. But then the Mac Life interview came out on Friday morning. I said, oh, I'm definitely making it. And then Friday night isn't really a good spot to make videos. So I was like, oh, I'll just wait till Saturday. And now all these, I even tweeted it out on Friday. Now all these rumors are coming out about it. But listen to this.
The answer to your question is yes. Whenever you find talented people and they start to, you know, we're talking about going to South Africa right now. And, you know, so if we get some guys from Turkey that become, you know, contenders and do well, it makes all the sense in the world to go. Like Spain. We're trying to go to Spain right now, too.
We're trying to go to Spain right now, too. Now, I'm not saying Islam versus Topuria is definitely going to happen in Spain. But imagine, oh, well, Islam was fighting Arman kind of on home field advantage in California and LA, where a lot of Armenians are there. A lot of Armenian fan base was there. He also fought Dustin Poirier in New Jersey. Again, not that Dustin Poirier is from New Jersey, but, you know, it's not like, you know, people say, oh, he's Dagestani. He only wants to fight in Abu Dhabi. He only wants to fight in the Middle East. If there isn't people wearing turbans there, then he can't fight there. Fought Volkanovski in Australia. Islam, for the payday, 100% would be the biggest fight, would be Islam Topuria potentially in Spain. So we have a little bit more from this. We have another question about the lightweight division. There is something going on with the lightweight division. Listen to this. I got to jump ahead a little bit more. This is kind of a dumb question from the media member, but it's still pertinent to the lightweight division. Listen.
In LA, you said that he's not going to be the next contender. He's not going to be the one fighting for the belt next. However, he's still in the first position. It seems as though he is a clear contender, and there's nobody else who's clearer than him. So can we say that the fact that he wasn't able to fight got you angry or got the UFC upset? Because nobody's protected from that. Anybody could have an injury and fall off the last day. So
I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there about this. You'll just have to watch and see how this plays out.
Yeah, it's not actually.
Like, there's something going on there. Now, I don't know what exactly he meant by that, but the UFC in the past has done weirder things. Could they potentially do Islam versus Topuria for the lightweight title? And since Islam's fighting a featherweight contender, or the featherweight champion, would it shock you if they did like a Charles Oliveira Arman fight for the interim title? Because That smirk there when specifically asked about Arman was just weird. So here's what I'm imagining. Maybe they're thinking they can get Islam versus Topuria in Spain later this year. Again, this is not my prediction. My prediction is just that the fight's happening. But maybe they're going to try to make Islam versus Topuria in Spain. Maybe that doesn't happen till late summer or fall. Maybe they announce that, but when they announce that, they say, look, because this is going to take some time, this is a mega fight that we want to put together, we're going to do Charles versus Arman 2, and we'll make it for an interim title. Charles is a massive star in the lightweight division, and also it would kind of make sense, if you were going to do an interim belt, it kind of makes sense to potentially make that fight. I'm just kind of speculating heavily there, but the way Dana's just smirking about that, I mean, something is up his sleeve. Now, the Mac Life interview that we're going to take a look at. In the Mac Life interview, he was directly asked, basically, what is going on with Islam? Because Dana's talking about, I was up in my room and we're working on a lot of big fights and a lot of special fights. Listen to this.
Not last night, but the night before. I mean, I was up in my room with my people till like 6 in the morning. We're working on lots of stuff right now. There's lots of really good shit going on right now.
Again, I know Dana always says these types of things. He's a promoter, but it's like when Dana's this jubilant, he's talking about a mega fight. And I'm telling you right now, Islam versus Topuria will be a mega fight. It's not a Conor McGregor in his prime, but it is a massive, massive fight.
Ali Abdelaziz actually said something about, you were asked a question last night about Islam Makhachev and you had a smile on your face. And is there something special in the works with him? I'm just kind of reading the room a little bit. Is there something going on there?
Yeah.
Yes, there is something special in the works for Islam. And he carries on a little bit more. And then he's like, it seems like he's going to start to reveal something. And then he kind of like realized, I got to shut up.
You're very insightful. Yeah, there was a lot of good stuff. Like I said, every year, I say to myself, how do we raise the bar? How do we go to another level? How do we beat this year? And every year we seem to do it. And every year there's always fun fights that, we get excited to make. And
fun fights that we don't see coming is what I think he was about to say.
We're working on a ton of those right now.
So something special in the works for Islam. So before we get to the Saudi Arabia clip, before we get to Ilia Topuria's coach clip, let's take a look at the rankings right now, okay? What would be special for Islam in the lightweight division? You guys tell me. If it's not Arman, I don't think it's going to be Charles on a one-fight win streak over Michael Chandler. Could it be? Sure. Justin Gaethje's fighting Dan Hooker. I mean, what are they going to give Max Holloway an undeserved title shot in the lightweight division coming off a loss to Topuria? I mean, it wouldn't shock me if the UFC did it. Doubt it. He just beat Dustin Poirier. He's already beat Dan Hooker, who's scheduled to fight Justin Gaethje. What are they going to give it to Michael Chandler's pathetic ass? No, so there's nothing in the lightweight division. Him and Bilal have kind of been pretty adamant, more Bilal than Islam, but they've both been adamant they're not going to fight each other. Bilal's going to fight Shavkat next, almost guaranteed. So what else could happen? Now, you do have these tweets from Ali Abdelaziz. The UFC has a completely different plan for Islam, which doesn't include Oliveira, Arman, or Ilia. But it's unpredictable sport, and you don't know what could happen. I don't know what that could be, other than maybe hinting at a potential Bilal fight, which Ali kind of would love because he still would be double dipping. But then he tweets out this right afterwards. Again, look at the timestamps: 9:59, and then you have 10:03. If Justin Gaethje beats Hooker, he can easily be next. If Beneil Dariush beats Poirier, he can be next. That would be two new names that Islam hasn't fought. Who would want to see him versus Justin Gaethje? But of course, Ali's going to promote Gaethje and Beneil because Ali has both of those guys under his management. But I don't think it's either one of those guys. I really don't think it's either one of those guys. I believe it will be Ilia Topuria, which we'll get to more in a second. But you also have Ilia's coach, which we'll get to in a second. But then you also have this small clip from the UFC Saudi Arabia presser earlier today. It's not that much. I wanted to include it just for a little bit more context. I spent an hour looking for this because it was a 22-minute video re-uploaded by MMA Junkie. I went to the MMA Junkie one and I kept watching it and watching it and watching it and watching it, and I could not find it. I kept rewinding, watching. I watched a 20-minute post-fight presser with Dana for 45 minutes. Then I realized that MMA Junkie, they must have been trying to edit out like a translation or something, and they accidentally edited out the clip. So I hate MMA Junkie with a passion. I'm not watching MMA Junkie videos ever again, unless they're exclusives, because they wasted my time looking for that. Anyway, here's the clip. I was actually looking where the Power Slap logo was on the cup, and then trying to place where the clip was. But here's the clip. He's asked specifically about Islam at the Saudi Arabia presser. So this is the most recent clip from Dana White.
You said you're preparing something special for Islam. Is it in his weight class or a different weight class?
As soon as we announce it, you'll know.
Okay.
Is it at his weight class or is it something else? I doubt it's going to be at welterweight. I doubt it's going to be at middleweight. There's a chance they could offer him a welterweight fight. I mean, crazier things have happened. But, man, you really think all of a sudden we're going to get Islam Makhachev, Bilal Muhammad at welterweight? That would be an insane fight, too, and that's really the only other potential option. I just don't buy it. So if it's not that, again, what could it possibly be? And that's why I believe it will be Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria, champion versus champion. And I know Islam, and I don't blame Islam. He's come out and said, what am I going to fight Ilia Topuria for? You know, they're just going to say I beat smaller guys because, you know, everyone was hyping up Volk. They were claiming Volk was going to beat him. Then he beats Volk. They say he robbed Volk. They say he used an IV where there's smoke, there's fire. And then, he's just beating up smaller guys. Then he KOs him in the first round. He's just beating up on smaller guys. But also, and I don't have this clip, Islam said he'll do whatever the UFC wants. And that's true. He's not worried. He'll beat up Moicano, for an easy paycheck. He would fight Topuria, no doubt, especially considering it's the biggest fight that he can get right now, in my opinion. And that leaves Topuria's end of the bargain. Does Topuria come up to lightweight and fight Islam Makhachev? Does he want that fight? Well, listen to his coach right here. This is from a recent Submissive Radio interview from about a month ago. Listen to what he has to say here.
I think he's going to defend the featherweight title. I think he wants to go to the lightweight title. I don't think they give the opportunity to fight directly for the belt, but he wants to fight with the ranked guys to come for the belt.
So he doesn't believe that he'll get an immediate title shot, but he wants to fight for the lightweight belt. He called out Charles Oliveira. I think he mentioned it in this interview. But that really doesn't make sense. If Topuria is going up, Topuria is one of the UFC's kind of budding superstars. He's not quite there yet, but he's getting very, very close. And also, he has tapped into a market that the UFC really wants to tap into. There's no way Topuria goes up to 155 and doesn't fight for the title immediately. It does not happen. He brutally KO'd Volk. He's undefeated. He brutally KO'd Max Holloway, who's one of the biggest names and the GOATs in the featherweight division. He's going to go up to lightweight and fight Charles Oliveira. Don't get me wrong, it's a banger fight, and I love the fact that he's willing to go earn it. There's no way he moves up and doesn't get a title shot. And then also, we have this. I'm just going to translate it for you guys. Maybe it's time for a change. Have you seen my last featherweight fight? Yes, I'm sure you have. And it's a clip of Ilia Topuria. I'm not even going to play it because it's in Spanish. And if you look at the rankings for featherweight right now, it's off to the side here. You can't really see it that well. I'll move it in a little bit to make it more visible. You have Max Holloway. You have Alexander Volkanovski. You have Max Holloway, who he's already beaten. You have Diego Lopez coming off a win over Yair is going to get him a title shot. You have Movsar, who probably should be the rightful number one contender. You have Yair Rodriguez. Okay, there's barely any contenders here. There's Movsar and Diego. And it really should be Movsar over Diego, but the rankings are whack. So Topuria really doesn't have much right now. And basically there's talk of Topuria versus Volk as a rematch that was talked for UFC 314, which could still happen, the rematch there. But I doubt Ilia's that interested. He's not going to be able to beat Volk as, I guess he could, but either way, it's not going to do much for him to beat Volk again. Everyone thinks it's a foregone conclusion. So if Topuria doesn't want to deal with the weight cut anymore, he goes up to 55. He thinks he probably matches up well with Islam. It's a mega fight. It would sell massive pay-per-view buys. But then what happens to the featherweight title? Now, I don't believe that Topuria would move up immediately and just relinquish the belt, because at the end of the day, he wants to be a simultaneous champ. People call him a Conor McGregor wannabe. He wants to be a simultaneous champ. So what I'm thinking could happen is they could try to delay it. Makhachev versus Topuria, International Fight Week, maybe even late summer, early fall in Spain, because there's been a lot of talk about going to Spain. I don't know if that's definitely going to happen. You could do an interim title fight at featherweight. And what's another fight that's been talked about quite a bit and been rumored quite a bit, and I'm not going to say those rumors are from credible sources, but what would happen if Topuria left the division? If I had to guess right now, they would book Volkanovski because they think Volkanovski deserves a title shot because he was a long-reigning champion, regardless of losing to Topuria. He was featherweight champion for years, versus another guy they absolutely love in Diego Lopez. It'd be Volk versus Lopez for the interim featherweight title. If Topuria went up and beat Islam and won the title, he's going to be simultaneous champ for a day. He's then going to relinquish the featherweight title. The winner of Volk and Lopez becomes the undisputed featherweight champion. And then if Topuria loses, what they could potentially do is Topuria could go back down to featherweight. He could fight the winner of Volk Lopez, and he could still be champion. And I think that's what's most likely to happen. I just think that makes so much sense. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're going to book Topuria Volk. The reason Dana's not, if it was official, I think Dana would have announced it, because with a fight of that magnitude, it probably would have gotten out by now. But I really do believe the special announcement that Dana White has kind of played coy about, not really given straightforward answers to, I believe it will be Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria. In terms of a date, so it's not 3/13, obviously, which is in March, which is next month now. It's February now. That's crazy. It's not going to be 3/13. 3/14 in April. Probably not going to be that, considering Islam will be coming off Ramadan. He won't want to do a training camp during Ramadan. But he did take no damage against Renato Moicano. So if he wanted to, he could fight at 3/14. That'd be insane. That's a possibility. 3/15 in May, I believe, is going to be in Brazil. So I doubt it would be there. Obviously, it's not going to be there. So you're looking at, I guess it would be 3/16 in June, 3/17, which would be International Fight Week, or 3/18, 3/19 in Spain if they somehow worked out a deal to bring Islam versus Topuria in Spain, and probably even get the Spanish government to pay the UFC. They could use it as a negotiation tactic. The UFC only likes to go to places where the government is willing to pay the UFC and subsidize pay-per-view buys, but this is already a mega fight. But they could tease that to the Spanish government. Look, we're going to bring you Islam versus Topuria. Islam's going to be in. He's not going to turn down a fight, especially a fight that's going to make him a lot of money. And especially, the magnitude of this. Ali Abdelaziz obviously is going to push him to take it because it's a massive payday for him as well. He gets a share of that. The UFC is going to love it because it's pay-per-view buys. And on top of that, to be honest, neither one of their divisions, I'm the first to cry, oh, we got a deserving contender, and now we're giving someone a title shot or a double champ status. I know Topuria, it's not like he's defended his belt 3 or 4 times, but he's beaten a lot of the top guys. There's not a standout contender. Islam's kind of cleaned out the division a bit because he fought, a couple good guys even before he got the belt. It kind of makes sense, and it makes money, and Dana White's playing coy about it. I believe Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria will happen later this year, whether it be International Fight Week or in the fall. I believe that is the next lightweight title fight. Will they do an interim belt in the lightweight division because maybe they're stalling for Spain? Maybe. Will they do an interim title fight at featherweight? I believe they will. Let me know what you guys think. By the way, I love the fight. Absolutely love that fight. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and thank you so much for watching.